Hi, I'm Dave, and I know comics. Do you want a superhero that is super handy capable? Do you want a superhero that John Cena would never be able to taunt without it being in poor taste? And do you want a superhero who was probably the only person excited when they heard that Ben Affleck was cast as Batman? Then allow me to introduce to you my client for Dave Knows Comics Honest Promos, the former Mellow Yellow but the current All Red Everything, Matthew Murdock, aka Daredevil. Behold, the superhero that is most known for what he can't do, which is kind of messed up when you stop to think about it, especially since all of his other horse super senses have gone so far above and beyond that it more than makes up for the fact that he can't see. I mean, come on, his sense of smell is so good that he can detect the different kinds of dyes and clothing from their scent alone, so he knows what shirt you're wearing? Oh, and he can also read newspaper by feeling the raising of the print. Yeah, okay. But even though his senses are completely off the charts, and he also has radar sense, remember, he still bleeds just like you or me. I'm not saying that as a cheap way to try to make him more relatable. I'm saying that because I just want to point out that he still has a normal human body that has somehow taken some serious beatings from supervillains over the years, and yet he's still relatively fine. You know, people want to complain about overpowered superheroes, but when you stop to think about it, underpowered superheroes who survive the inexplicable are probably a much bigger logic gap when it comes to storytelling. Oh, but I know, he is making huge strides for those with disabilities, but does that necessarily make up for the fact that he's also really guilty of a lot of Irish stereotypes? Get woke, buddy. Anyway, aside from his ridiculous superpowers, his real gift might be getting with the ladies. Probably a bit too much so because the guy really gets himself around. Like, for real, pick a love interest, Elektra or Karen Page. You can't have two loves of your life. But that's right, if we're going by the comics, then we have to remember that Karen isn't around anymore. Why? Well, because at some point, comics started thinking that every single social issue had to be assigned to one of their characters. They mistook it for good writing. And unfortunately for Karen Page, this meant that she ended up getting hooked on heroin, doing porn, selling Daredevil's secret identity for drug money, getting told that she has the HIV, even though she doesn't, and then getting killed. Glad to see Netflix at least had the common sense not to go down that dumb well, even though they didn't have the common sense to renew Luke Cage. Oh, and while we're on it, Elektra, Karen Page, share the wealth, will ya, Bullseye? You could have at least let the owl get one in. That way, maybe fans will know the owl as someone other than the guy who kept complaining, who was also played by the warden from Demolition Man. Oh, and when it comes to Karen selling off his identity, don't worry about it going public. Whenever something like that happens, Matt somehow just keeps managing to get people to forget all about it. Oh, and not in that stupid Spider-Man way either. He once just told everyone he had a twin brother named Mike Murdock. But wait, how could we possibly talk about Matthew's supporting cast without bringing up Foggy Nelson, who used to look a lot like Happy Hogan, but now looks a lot like Fulton from the Mighty Ducks. In the end, if you want a superhero who somehow remains a good guy even though he's a lawyer, a superhero who never has the right hair color on screen, and a superhero who, let's be real here, really isn't a part of the MCU, then allow me to introduce to you my client for Dave Knows Comics Honest Promos, the red letter of the law, the man without fear, that isn't Green Lantern, Matthew Murdock, or Daredevil. So, you know the chemicals that blinded him? You know those were also the same chemicals that created the Ninja Turtles? Man, he sure got the raw end of the deal on that one, didn't he?